how to live a very balanced life.
I've totally sacrificed my friendships, and I've definitely sacrificed my family. And yeah, I only get 4 to 6 hours of sleep every night.
Struggles with managing your time, how to solve issues with love, life, money, or your spiritual journey.
I can't stress to you enough, it's important to live a very balanced life.
Dani is the counterweight to give you balance.
Do you find that you're not living out your life the way you want it to?
This is the Dani Johnson Show.
Welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. We're really blessed that you chose to join us today. Today we are going to tackle the home. Dani, what are you talking about? Well, let's talk about this. The fact is that you have a destiny. I have a destiny. We have a destiny that I believe has success in mind. And success is different for everybody, right? Some people, success for them is having a wonderful marriage that's harmonious with a great sex life, and they're passionate. They're still chasing each other around the house, and they've been around for 50 years. For others, success is kids that are well managed and well behaved, and kids that are successful too. And for others, it's making $1 million. It's different for everybody. Others, it is being completely flat broke but happy. Everybody has a different definition for success. And so here on the Dani Johnson Show, 6 days a week, Sunday through Friday, right there in your local area or in the palm of your hand on your smartphone, we bring you content that is going to show you how to succeed, as well as how to tear down the obstructions to your success. I grew up on welfare, pregnant at 17, homeless at 21, but millionaire by 23. Currently multimillionaire, mother of 5, grandmother of 7, several companies, and I work 20 hours a week, including doing this daily radio and television show. So, if I can figure out how to succeed in that, and by the way, my job has been for 2.5 decades helping other people to succeed. In fact, just today, I had a consulting appointment with a client who's been with us for about 4 years. 2 years ago, I guided him in a direction of a different profession. The man with no experience at all. He was only making $20,000 a year, and he was hanging Christmas lights at Christmas, and that's the only work that he could find. His wife was a bit frustrated. He had 4 children. He obviously was not providing the way that he needed to. Guided him through a career move, trained him up in that career move. The man has exploded his income, and when he got started with this particular company, he was with the company that had only reached $56 million in business that I could actually bring in contracts, went and took and brought in $354 million in business for that company. Obviously, he learned how to bring value into the marketplace. However, now that's a great success story. We got thousands of success stories like that all over our website, DaniJohnson.com. But what's the point of this show every day is bringing you tips and solutions to problems that you have that you don't realize is causing and hurting your success. One particular area is what happens in our home. So we're gonna tackle the home today. It's a good day to do that. Why do I feel that way? Because have you ever been in this situation? You got some great goals, you got something that you're working towards, okay? And you get in a fight with your teenager. What are you thinking about when you're trying to reach that goal? You're on your way to your office, right? Or your place of labor. You're on your way there, and all you can think about is what? Oh, that teenager. Who does he think he is? You know, what happened to my little boy, right? We do. We tend to gnaw on the fight, the argument, the stress, like a dog gnaws on a bone. So we're going to tackle these issues and figure out how together, 2 heads are better than 1. Together, we're going to identify some of those stresses and how can we fix them. Here's one. I don't know if you know this, but I wrote a book several years ago called Grooming the Next Generation for Success. And this is where I reveal things that parents can do with their kids that causes less stress to happen in the home. What I have found after working with hundreds of thousands of people through the years is that we humans have a tendency of doing and saying things that actually cause problems. I know you're like, me, Dani? Not me. I don't do anything that causes problems. It's them. Well, if that's still how you think, you are the problem right there. You clearly are the problem. Let me show you this. I want you to think about the problems in your life. Like, no, I don't want to. I'm turning the channel. Don't turn the channel. This is a fun exercise. There's a common denominator in every problem in your life. There's a common denominator with the financial problems, same common denominator with the spousal problems, same common denominator with the kid problems, health problems, boss problems, community problems, church problems, the house problems, whatever the problems are, there's one common denominator. You are there. You are there. This is something that I learned 2.5 decades ago, and I'm telling you, it is definitely in the top 5 of the greatest lessons I've had to learn. And it is what? Take responsibility. Quit blaming everybody else. So sometimes it's good to look in the mirror. You know, we are finishing through the high holidays for the Jews right now, right? Rosh Hashanah that had started, more than a week ago and ended, with Yom Kippur. I love what they bring up in that particular faith. And what it is it's like a 10-day period of reflecting back on looking at where did I fall short so I can go make it right? So it's like 10 days of asking for forgiveness. I think everybody should do that. So really like looking at, okay, where have I fallen short? What problem have I caused? Not, they caused that problem against me. No, it's what was my part in that mess? Because we all have a part in a mess. And if we can put our big girl and big boy chonies on, I think we can actually solve the problem. But if we're continuously blaming everybody else and it's just these kids these days and why did I have them and I just don't know what to do. Now stop that. Let's go and identify maybe some things that you can change that is going to absolutely change everything. Reduce your stress and help you to produce better in the marketplace. Help you to have better relationships with your kids. Because come on, what have you got to gain if you go out and you make a ton of money and your kids hate your guts? Huh? That you have no relationship with them. They can't stand you. They resent you. I'm not talking about one defining moment that happened and they're pained about it and they have to get over it. No, I'm talking about that they were neglected their entire life because you were chasing money. That's stupid, right? Come on, you know it. You know you don't want that to happen because at the end of the day, you don't want to be that rich guy who has no family and that only people that are around him are people that he pays. That there's really no friendships. There's really no love. There's really no depth. You want to be somebody that's got depth in the relationships at home. And if the home is well, then your business and your career and your finances also will be well. Good leadership knows how to manage their home well. That doesn't mean that you don't suffer traumas in the home. Those things happen. Doesn't mean you don't have some bumps in the road. Those things happen. When those things happen, how do you respond? So here's one thing that I discovered that, I heard when I was a kid and I found that a lot of you heard the same thing as a kid, and here's what it is. Okay, so here it is. Mom, can I have some candy? No. Why not? Because I said so. Have you ever heard those words? How well did they work on you? What was your response to that statement? When your parents would use the statement, because I said so, do it because I said so, just get it done because I said so. Why? Because I'm your mother or I'm your father. Therefore, you will do what I tell you to do. Okay? Playing a power trip, control trip. How did that work on you? What was your response to that? Your response was probably much like mine. Well, I can't say it. We're live on the air. The FCC would not be happy if I told you what went through my mind and sometimes through my mouth whenever I heard because I said so. It provokes rebellion. Do you have rebellious kids? If you do, there's a chance that you might have had something to do with it. There is a chance that perhaps there's some things that you picked up from your parents that you're now using in the home that did not work on you, and somehow you're expecting it to work on your own kids. So if you're having some challenges with the kids right now, and you're looking for solutions, because again, here on the Dani Johnson Show, we are redefining success, and I'm telling you, success has to include the home. It has to include the home. But Dani, I'm terrible in the home. I'm really good in business. You know that's a lie. You so know that's a lie. You are hiding behind business. You're hiding behind it. And you're working too many hours. And it's not fulfilling. And you know it. How do I know this? Because I lived that. I lived that facade. I lived that lie. I used to say, ask me anything about business, I got that sucker dialed. Now talk about the home, forget that, man. I can't figure that thing out to save my life. Now, I'm still learning. There's no question. We are far from a perfect family, far from a perfect home, but guess what I found out? Nobody has one. Even the best success book ever written proves it. There's not a single functional family in the Bible. Not a single one. Abraham lies to the king saying that his wife is his sister to save his own skin. That should have resulted in a slap across the face. How dare you call me your sister, right? Okay, and then you got his grandson Jacob, who's like a total thief, okay, tricking his brother out of his birthright. And then his father-in-law, who's a total thief. Okay, what about David? Nice guy, good-looking, hard-working, good warrior, smart kid. His father-in-law hates his guts and wants to kill him. Listen, we got this wrong idea, especially those of us who go to church. We have like the worst warped idea about family. That somehow, if we go to church and we go to Bible study, that and if we look successful on the outside, then everything must be perfect on the inside. Nope. Lie. It's time to come out of the closet. You got problems at home, let's talk about them, and let's find solutions. Together, two heads are better than one, right? You're not going to succeed all by yourself, friend. Success is a team effort. That's what it is. It's a team effort. And that team includes your spouse and your kids. Well, I don't have any kids, Dani. Good for you. You got less time to spend on something like that. Or maybe you should be using that time to find yourself a spouse and make some kids. Why? 'Cause it's a fun ride. Oh, there are challenges. But they ain't nothing like being a mom and a dad. They ain't nothing like having them babies, having that kid come out, trying to figure out who it looks like. It looks like a monkey. You know it does. Go back and look at the newborn pictures. Monkey. Oh, he's so cute. No, he's not. Wait a little while. They get cuter. I know it's terrible. I'm telling you the truth, though. I look back at those pictures and go, ooh. But you're so in love. I mean, it really does. It opens up a lovely place. But anyway, for those of you parents who are struggling at home, or if you're a teacher, you're wanting some solutions, 844-200-3264. Again, that's 844-200-3264. Dani, you seem like you're kind of having fun today. I know, I'm going to have more fun talking to you. Call me now. Let's solve these problems and get on the side of the path of success and your destiny where you belong. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue after this.
Good people bring out the good in people. And you're sharing great moments with thousands of good people right now. There's more of the Dani Johnson Show coming up. Stay here.
The whole story of how I went from homeless to millions is right here in this book, First Steps to Wealth. I'd love to give you a free copy of this book. Just dial 888-757-8880. You can get your free copy of this book. It's like a real book, my friend. You can get an ebook copy for free right now, or if you'd like to pay the shipping to get this $15 book to your house, I'd be happy to send it to you. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of First Steps to Wealth today and begin on a brand new path of some great success.
Now, more of the Dani Johnson Show.
Chaos, utter chaos. Chaos everywhere, right? Chaos at work, chaos at home. You want to pull your hair out, right? You don't need to do that. We're going to have solutions for you today. Stay right here on the Dani Johnson Show. We're taking your call about how to solve some of those internal problems at home so that you don't take those to work, because now it's an external problem. The internal problem becomes the external problem, and now you're biting people's heads off at work. You don't have much patience with that prospect that's driving you crazy. The finances aren't where you want them to be. Now you're just spinning completely out of control. Well, it all starts in the home. Yes, it does. It starts in the home, and there could be some quick little tips that you might hear today that are going to help it get easier and better. Your home is supposed to be a refuge. Not supposed to be chaos. It's supposed to be a refuge. Now, that doesn't mean that there's not moments of chaos in the home. That means that majority of the time, it's supposed to be a refuge. Gosh, right now I'm even talking to you, and I'm like, I want to go home. I like that feeling. After I'm done working with you, obviously. Anyway, we got Karis from Illinois. Karis, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. What's your concerns in the home? What kind of chaos you got going on?
Oh boy, I've got 2 teenage boys, and
that says a lot.
Great kids. One's 13 and one's 16, and my 16-year-old is the one who really just tugs on my heart daily. He's not even quite 16. He's 15, and he's 6'2". He's a big kid.
Mm.
And
is he hairy and everything now? Like he doesn't look like a boy anymore?
He doesn't look like and you know what? And that's part of the problem. When people look at him, they don't see him as a kid because he's got the heart and everything of just like the sweetest little one.
Yeah.
But what's going on is since kindergarten, he's been struggling with behavioral issues. And so just last year, he was diagnosed, and I use air quotes when I say diagnosed, with ODD, oppositional defiant disorder. And so right now,
I have never even heard of this one. Are you so serious? Like, how many more diseases are they going to come up with? How many more disorders are they going to come up with? Really?
I kid you not.
Gosh.
And here's the thing about that. ODD is something that if you look it up and you read it, you go, oh, okay. My son, he picks and chooses. So that's why I use the air quotes with the diagnosis.
Sure.
Because when someone has a true disorder, true disease, there's really not much control they have.
Mm-hmm.
I know my kid. He picks and chooses. He has control. There's no medication.
Amen.
He's not on anything.
Good job.
They don't even have meds to treat this disorder.
Oh, I'm sure they're going to find one, Mommy. They are going to find one, and they're going to make millions of dollars on selling the parents a new drug because they don't know how to deal with their kid. Okay, so what's the concern?
I've left jobs. I've walked off jobs. I have given up my home, everything, exhausted all the resources I have for him because I feel like if I can be home more, then, maybe it'll help. But every day, I kid you not, yesterday I was just sitting in his school crying and praying. I get a phone call. He's not always the aggressor, but something happens. He's yelling, he's cursing, he's throwing gang terminology. He's not in a gang. He's never been in a gang. He just wants to present himself to these people as something he's not. And I get staff at the school going, your son doesn't belong here. He doesn't belong in an alternative setting, but we've got to get him to choose for himself to get out of here.
Yep.
And I am looking forward to going back to the workplace. I want to go back to work. But every time I've been on interviews, every time I go on an interview,
there's something acting up. Are you, Karis, are you a single mom? Are you a single mom?
Nah. I was for a very long time. I recently just got married a month ago.
Okay, so, congratulations on your remarriage.
Thank you.
Okay, number one, again, I'm not an expert in these things, okay? It's just you and I sitting down, you might drink a cup of coffee, I'm going to have a glass of water. And maybe on a Friday night, it's Shabbat, we're going to have a glass of wine. But anyway, So just 2 moms talking, okay? And this is what I would say to you, my friend. First of all, there's obviously been some trauma at home. Right? Obviously, your sons have suffered either through a divorce or mom being a single mom, other men coming into the house, right? Mom dating. Obviously, you had to date in order to get married, okay? And for sons, this can be very confusing and very hard. And a lot of times, sons don't know how to verbalize their feelings. They don't know how to verbalize what's going on inside of them. And so they kind of just toughen up a little bit and kind of keep to themselves. And so I think what's important is to realize is that these outbursts of anger and trying to prove him to have a strong identity is coming from an insecurity, not from a disorder. Hold the line for just a second, because I want to give you some little steps that you could do with your boy that can begin to mend some things. And then I have a strong gut feeling about something that I want you said God, and you were in a classroom and you were praying, so there's something I want you to pray about. So hold the line. We're gonna go there as soon as we get back from this real short break. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more after this.
You can't be the old person you used to be and the new person you want to become. Let go of the past and hang on for what's new and exciting and about to come into your life. Stay tuned to The Dani Johnson Show. There's more to come.
But I'm so blessed that I found what is in Grooming the Next Generation for Success. This is a book that is being taught in universities around the world. It's been noted as the best book on parenting that has ever been written. Crazy, if you ask me. But the point is that this thing gets results. Get your copy today, 888-757-8880. Again, that's 888-757-8880. Or go to DaniJohnson.com. That's DANI Johnson.com. Get your copy today.
Giving you the playbook to design your life. This is the Dani Johnson Show. And now, here's Dani.
Your son's acting out. Like he's freaking out, he's cussing, he's screaming, he's, like what happened to my little boy? He's not the sweet kid anymore. What happened to that gentle heart? Now he's 16, almost 16, and he's freaking out. That's what's happening with Karis right now. She's facing, she just got remarried a month ago. She's got 2 sons. She's very concerned about her boy. The boy has been diagnosed, she says in parentheses, with ODD. Even the school in which they have him don't think that he should be there, that he doesn't really carry that because he can choose his responses, which tells me that we have a different issue. So, Karis, there's some steps that I'm going to, just again, as one girlfriend to another, all right, one mom to another, this is what I would ask you to pray about and to explore. Number one, obviously, I don't know what happened in the first marriage or, if you're like me, a teen pregnancy didn't end up with the father or whatever, right? I got pregnant at 17 out of wedlock, and then I got pregnant at 21 out of wedlock. The only reason why I married my current husband was to have another baby, but I didn't want to be the chick with 3 kids out of wedlock. Whatever. That was my past, okay? But when those kinds of things happen, it creates instability in the kids. And again, you had no control over whatever happened in those relationships. It is what it is. And by the way, every kid has advantages and disadvantages. Every kid. Okay? I don't want you to feel like, I screwed my kids up because I couldn't manage the relationship with their father. Don't you dare carry that guilt and shame. You did your best. You did your best with what you had dealt to you. We all grew up with advantages and disadvantages, every one of us. But what we do with the advantages and disadvantages is what determines our success. And that's the thing to teach your 13 and 16-year-old. It's our attitude of how we handle the problems we face. Because for the rest of our lives, we're going to face problems. For the rest of our lives, we're going to have disadvantages. And we can turn those into advantages. Karis, let me give you an example. Okay, I grew up in a home where I was violently abused. I was molested by my stepfather, my cousin, and a stranger from the time I was 3 till I was 16 and moved out of the house. I was suicidal since I was 6 years old until into my 30s. I was overweight from 18 to 22, 50 pounds overweight. I met and married a guy that I knew for 7 days, ended up as a homeless woman as a direct result of that. I have been emotionally abused, sexually abused. I have been verbally abused. I've been emotionally abused, and I've been violently physically abused. As a human being, I've been through all of these things. Now, my sisters grew up in the same home that I did. They were younger than me. Neither one of them were sexually abused, but they were emotionally abused, verbally, and physically abused. They were not sexually abused. We all grew up in the same house. Obviously, I took a different path. I made a different choice. My youngest sister, died in a head-on collision doing a drug run for my parents. At 21 years old, she left behind a 3-year-old child. My other sister has been off and on of drugs for her entire adult life and even part of her adolescence life since she was 13. Her and my younger sister used to steal my parents' weed and smoke it and sell it. So she's been in and out of jail. She's now 43. She'll be 44 in December, actually. Yeah, she'll be 44 in December, so she's 43. She's got 2 children, one that's 3, one that's 20. She chose a path. We grew up in the same disadvantages, okay? We grew up in poverty. We had nothing. We saw a lot that we should have seen. What's the difference between my sister and I? The difference is first of all, fortunately, I got introduced to people who thought different. I got out of the environment I grew up in. I got away from the people that I grew up in. And I got introduced to the business community that then taught me about my mind and taught me how to think and brought me through processes where I could begin to heal. And I pursued personal growth. My sister did not pursue personal growth. She pursued a destructive path. It took me a long time to get over depression and suicidal thoughts. But I'm going to tell you that today I use the disadvantages that were given to me as a child as my advantage. How? My life's work has been helping people get out of pain. My life's work has been helping people become successful no matter how bad their past is. My life's purpose has been doing that and taking the money that I've made and giving it to the poor. Reaching to the disadvantaged, right? And helping them to succeed. So this is what you need to present to your sons. That all of us have advantages and disadvantages. There's no perfect family. There's no perfect marriage. There's no perfect human. There was one perfect human who walked the earth. They killed him because he was perfect.
Right.
So we're never going to be perfect. But what determines our success in life is what we do with our circumstances, our response to our circumstances. So I highly recommend sitting the boys down and beginning to teach them. There's two different populations, 98 and 2%. 98 ends up dead or dead broke at the age of 65. 2% will succeed financially. These two populations think very differently, very differently. One is going to have a lifetime full of struggle and pain financially. The other is going to do well and have purpose with that money. So which one do you want to be? That determines those places is how we think, how we handle problems, how we make decisions. So this discussion begin to set them up for a higher calling in their life. That you're not alone. There are millions of kids who've had suffered through a divorce. Millions of kids being raised by single moms. My husband was one of them. My husband became a millionaire. Not because it didn't fall out of the sky. He built businesses that made him millions. He grew up on the streets. He was the kid that was fighting all the time. He was the kid that would, be getting in fights after school. He was the kid that was throwing blows and having blows thrown at him. His mom didn't know what to do, and this is before the days of diagnosing your kids with certain disorders. She put him in martial arts so he could get his aggression out. In martial arts, his martial arts teacher was a real estate millionaire who began to sow seeds of wisdom and business ideas and things like that and started my husband on a path of going completely opposite of what he was raised in. So my husband used his disadvantage, right, of growing up poor with a single mom to use it as his advantage, his motivation to become successful. And he has, and you'll never guess who takes care of his family now. We have retired his grandparents, canceled all of his grandparents' debt. The thing their children should be doing, the grandkids are doing. So do you understand what I'm saying? So I would be selling them a vision of a better future and encouraging them to manage their own emotions and to make wise choices. And their choices are going to result in some kind of consequence or circumstance, good, bad, or indifferent. The other thing I want you to pray about, think about homeschooling your son. Pray about that. You got 3 years left. No, you got 2 years left, 2 school years left, or 3 school years left with your son. Is he a sophomore in high school?
He's a freshman.
He's a freshman. So you got 4 school years left, okay? He pretty much is going to manage it on his own. But you will have the chance to mold his mind and create a champion with him. He's responding to a lot of things at school, lots of things that are tugging on his emotions. Pray about it. I didn't think I could homeschool. I've homeschooled off and on for more than 15 years. And I wasn't smart in school. But there's all kinds of resources out there that can help you. And I know that you will not regret it. And your son won't regret it. There's all kinds of programs out there for homeschoolers to enter into sports, do you know what I mean? And all kinds of activities that are around you. But at least pray about it. Because you really could customize his education to fit his strengths, his goals, his needs. And he can get away from the environment that is agitating him. Someone that's having an outburst like that, he's being agitated. So some peace for him and some peace for you. Peace versus pressure. some kind of calmness, some stability. You said he's one with a gentle heart and these outbursts are just not who he is. Then let's take him away from the chaos that actually is causing that. So that's what I would say. Again, one mother to another, one girlfriend to another. This is what I would say. Pray about it. Just think about it. There's a system that we use, that we're using this year. It's called Life Pack. Look it up. It's very simple, really good education. My kids are loving it this year, absolutely loving it. And your boy is old enough to where he's going to manage most of himself. And you'll be able to have some really good time, good talks with him. Lastly, I want you to ask him to forgive you. I know that sounds weird, but ask him to forgive you. Ask him to forgive you for the messes that your life has brought into his life. That the choices that you made that resulted in pain, that in no way, shape, or form did you ever want them to be hurt. And that you're so sorry and you wish that you could change it all. Will you please forgive me? I promise you, I am committed to this new marriage. I'm committed to this man, and I'm committed to you. I am absolutely committed to you and showing you the kind of success that we're supposed to have. So please forgive me for my past. Forgive me for the things that have happened. I'm going to do my very best to create a very stable home environment for you. Those are 3 simple things. Pray about them, love. I believe that healing and restoration is about to come into your life. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more after this.
Stay tuned for more of The Dani Johnson Show.
This is your chance. This is your shot. Get your copy of War on Debt right now. There's one waiting for you that has your family's name on it. And inside that package is freedom. Your freedom, your family's freedom is on the inside of that package. All you have to do is open it up, press play, and start applying what I teach you in this program. 888-757-8880. You and I are going to help your family become completely debt-free in the next 5 to 7 years. Just imagine how that's going to feel.
We're back. Here's Dani Johnson.
Fathers, do not exasperate your children. Man, I remember the day that I read that. Gosh, and it brought back so many different emotions that I had. I was completely exasperated by my stepfather who raised me. Oh my gosh. He daily was exasperating myself and my sisters. It was awful. And then, I turned into a parent who found myself exasperating my children as well. Why? Even though I hated being exasperated. Come on, you know what I mean by exasperated? It's like you are so frustrated you feel like you're going to explode. It's like this, you're being provoked. It's like your weaknesses are being tapped into. Have you ever had, come on, you know the picture, right? When you were a kid, maybe this might have happened to you, that somebody nailed you down on the concrete at the playground, put their knees over your arms, and just took their index finger and pounded your chest with it. And you couldn't get away. You couldn't get away, and they just kept going and doing it. Have you ever had a kid like that in your life? Or have you ever had an experience like that? You know, it might not be like a physical thing, but you can feel it. Like you can't do anything about it, but you're just getting pounded again and again and again. I hate being provoked. Oh my gosh, do I hate being provoked. Think about your kids. Are they being provoked? Could there be something that you might be doing or saying that is provoking them to exasperation and frustration and outbursts? There's often things that we do as parents, not even thinking about it, that is causing pain in our homes. Now, I'm not saying that to make you feel guilty. I'm saying that to let's just identify it so we can solve it, right? If we can actually look at it objectively, we can go, oh, I need to stop doing that and saying that to my kid. This is not helping them. This is hurting them. And again, where did it come from? You heard it from your parents, so you said it to them. Even though it didn't work on you and it exasperated you, we just don't think, man. We just kind of go into autopilot, and we are our parents to our kids, right? We're being the ones that raised us to our kids. In some cases, that's great. In other cases, it ain't so hot. In my case, it was a disaster, no question. So why are we talking about this today? Because the pain in the home causes pain in the workplace. It does. The disasters in the home, the frustration, the exasperation, the screaming, the hollering, the lack of peace causes you not to perform well in the workplace. And if we're going to fix this economy, if we're going to help businesses to grow, we got to have balance in the home and solve these problems and not just wait for them to go away, because they ain't going to go away. Yes, she said that. She said ain't. It ain't going to go away, friend. We got to be wise. And I mean wise with our time, wise with our communication. So that's what we're here to do today. We're taking calls, helping people solve some issues that are in the house. Again, I'm not a doctor. I'm not an expert in this. Yes, I've written a book called Grooming the Next Generation for Success, which completely reduces the stress in the home, helps you to groom your children for success. I'm not talking about their haircut. I am talking about them learning skills, specifically teaching them skills that are going to help them in today's world. It's going to help them know about money. You know, everything your parents didn't teach you about money, but they taught you by the bad example. You're going to learn how to bypass the financial mistakes and help your kids not make financial mistakes. You're going to teach them how to have great people skills, how to have an awesome work ethic, to be honorable and respectful, not only to you, but their teachers, their coaches, and everybody that is around them, and to raise them up as powerful leaders that will lead in the marketplace and in the home someday. That's what grooming the next generation for success is all about. So again, I'm not an expert. It's just that one friend to another. You and I are friends, and we're going to talk about this. And come on, you talk to your friends about ways to solve some issues at home. Unfortunately, most of them have crappy homes. And if they got terrible things going on in their home, they kind of can't help you very much. And it's not that my house is perfect, because it ain't. We all go through trials like everybody else does. Jennifer from Las Vegas, how can we help you? What's going on in the home today?
Oh, hi. I didn't realize you said my name. It kind of cut out on me. Anyway, well, I have 3 kids, and 2 of them are teenagers. Middle one is autistic, and I'm having a little bit of issues with her. I can hear what she's learning in school from other kids.
Yeah.
And
well, do you remember, Jennifer, do you remember what you were learning in school from other kids?
I'm not really. I don't know why. I've blocked out a lot of my childhood for some reason, so wow. I guess I don't really...
Well, I know that there's, I learned how to cuss from my parents, but I heard the same words in the 3rd grade from the kids I was going to school with. So even if I had these wonderful parents that had clean mouths, I know I would have picked up the F word at school. I got that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and in the first sex conversation, my whole sex education was not in a classroom, and it wasn't at home. It was from the kids.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I learned the names of these body parts, from the kids in the 4th grade. I didn't learn them from my parents. They were called private parts from my parents. But I mean, I got like the full terminology in the 4th grade, not from the sex ed class in the 6th grade, but from the kids. So here we go. Yes, your kids are learning some things that you really wish you don't want them to learn right there, right now.
Right. But it's not only that. She's under a lot of... She feels my stress. We're getting ready to move. My husband's going to Korea for a year. Ooh. And we're going to go to North Carolina, which I'm so happy we're getting out of Vegas.
Yes, yes.
But she's rocking a lot more. The teachers are calling me at least once a week saying, "What do we do?" I'm like, I don't know. If I knew the answer, I'd stop her at home too.
Okay, well, listen. Here's something really simple. Have you guys sat down and talked about how everyone's feeling about Daddy moving to Korea for his job? And Mommy and the kids... did you just say no?
No.
Jennifer, this is a really simple thing to do.
No.
It is. It's a really simple thing to do. And it's to sit down on the floor or wherever it is that your family kind of sits down and we just talk about it. Come on. I know you've talked to your girlfriends about it, right? You called me to talk to me about it, right? So it's really simple. You just sit down with those kids and you just say, "Hey, guys, I want to know how you feel." Yeah, no. And that's why she's doing the same thing. But see, she manifests holding all the emotions in by rocking and the orange is talking to her. That's how she responds, right? Listen, all of us respond different under pressure. The key is to bypass as much pressure as possible. That's the key. And how do we bypass the pressure? We talk. We talk. We open the floor. Look at you. You already feel better. We open the floor for just an open conversation and allow people to share their feelings. And sometimes they might say something that we don't necessarily like, but we can be compassionate, right? And we know what's going on. Oftentimes, parents assume they know what their kids are thinking, and that is a God complex. That's ridiculous. Right. That's a God complex. Only God knows what somebody is thinking. None of us know what the other person is thinking. And we make assumptions, and then we build fears around the assumptions, or we build anger around the assumption. Oh, I'm so afraid my kids are going to hate me because we're doing this, right? Well, in all reality, your daughter might be so excited that she's moving to North Carolina. She might say, I miss my dad, and she needs to say that. So sit down, open the floor for an open conversation, some hugs, some tears, and then sell something that we can all look forward to and stay positive about. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue with more right after this.
Hey, have you done a favor for your best friend yet? Then do it now. Share this program with them. The Dani Johnson Show, helping hundreds of thousands of people just like you make life more enjoyable and rewarding. The Dani Johnson Show.
Call now, 888-757-8880. I'm going to send you our report on how to feed your family on $100 a week. Get this hot thing in your hand now, and you can begin to save hundreds of dollars just on your food bill. No clipping coupons, no way. I'm talking about simple little things that still, even my position, I'm still able to feed my family on $100 a week or less. You are going to learn how to do the same thing. 888-757-8880. Call now. Get your copy of this report.
The Dani Johnson Show is here to help you.
We want to see your economy thrive.
Helping you focus and set your priorities.
And you can do this by learning the skill sets, the strategies, and the mindsets of 2% of the population.
The Dani Johnson Show. Listen closely.
What are your weaknesses? What are your greatest strengths? And what are your weaknesses?
Learn how to make the most out of your strengths in this life and how to grow in the direction that is best for you and your family. This is The Dani Johnson Show.
Welcome to Hour 2 of the Dani Johnson Show. We're really blessed you decided to join us. We're tackling the home today. Why? Because what happens in our home has a huge, huge impact on our work life. It does. When things at home are chaotic, we're pulling out our hair, we're frustrated, we're screaming at the kids are screaming at us, we're screaming at our spouse, we're hugging the sides of the bed because we're so mad at them, okay? There's no sex happening. Okay, you're like, Dani, I'm single. It's okay, because there's things going on in your singleness home as well that could be chaotic. Do you understand? Are you making your bed every morning? Is your apartment a disaster? Come on now, is everything totally out of order? Hello? These are habits that come into the job. And when you have those habits at home, just like being frustrated and fighting with everybody that you are living with if you're married with kids, or you're fighting with your apartment. What does fighting with your apartment look like? You know exactly what it looks like. Dishes thrown in the sink with food still on them. Yep. Clothes strewn all over the floor. Laundry undone. Come on. You are fighting with your home when you are not taking care. What about your car? Come on, talk to me about your car. You fighting with your car, not taking care of it. It's a disaster. It's filthy inside and out. Haven't changed the oil in a long time. Your car will fight back. Your house will fight back. And whatever it is you got going on in the home is going to fight back too. So this all hurts your success. And on the Dani Johnson Show, we are redefining success and really finding what that path is for you. Okay? You have a path of success. You have a destiny. And either every day you are leading yourself towards that great destiny that's filled with joy and challenges and trials, but at the end of the day, you come out lacking nothing. You come out at the end of it all knowing that you did awesome. Okay? So the home, we're tackling the kid issue today. The challenges that drive you crazy. Yeah. How long does this have to last? It doesn't have to last as long as you think. This too will pass as long as you use wisdom. And man, I'm telling you, if you take care of the home, then your work life works for you. It does. You prosper greatly. You will. You'll get raises, bonuses. You'll build a great business if you're an entrepreneur. Your finances will be healthy. Got to have the home healthy. If you want other things outside of the home healthy. Healthy emotions, healthy mind, all of that produces healthy results everywhere we look. All right, so we're going to the phones. We got Aaron waiting from South Dakota. Aaron, welcome to the Dani Johnson Show. What's the chaos going inside of your home? How can we help you today?
Well, I've noticed that when things start to get tough around the house, there's a pattern in my daughter. She's like a little sponge, and she soaks up all the tension, which I think every child is like that. But I've also noticed that during those times, we have a tendency to focus on things more than each other as a family. And when that happens, she begins to act out in different ways, just trying to get our attention. Usually it comes in the form of doing something that's kind of annoying or frustrating.
Yeah.
And that little girl, anything just to get us to change our focus. And she seems to be willing to sacrifice her own happiness just to get us back to the family.
Focusing on her. Okay, so hold on one second.
Yeah.
You said something interesting. You said it seems like your little girl is one of those people that soaks up tension in the home. Aaron?
Right. Yeah.
It seems like her mother might be the same.
Yeah, well, that's very true. I think everybody does that.
Oh, so it's not just a problem your daughter has.
No.
Okay.
No, this isn't really a problem I'm not really asking a question about a problem. I'm noticing something that's happened. I tend to be analytical when things start going haywire in the house.
Yeah.
I'll step away from my emotions, and I'll say, okay,
What's going on?
and
Okay,
how
so
can I change?
let's use that analytical brain of yours to prevent this versus we have a pattern. Do you like the pattern?
No.
Okay.
It does let me know, though, that things are starting to head down that wrong road, and I need to turn around and turn the TV off, throw the phone away, shut the computer, look at my daughter.
Exactly. No. See, there's a problem in your solution. It's reactive. That's the
Right.
problem. So, what do we have to do to prevent your daughter from feeling neglected?
Not do it in the first place.
Yeah, that might be a good idea. Ding, 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 ding. Okay, listen to me. Yes, we need to have focused times with your children. Mm-hmm. They need your eye contact. They need your soft voice. Here's what I found, and I wrote about it in Grooming the Next Generation for Success. What I found is that we actually train our children to be manipulative. We train our children to be annoying. And what I found with me, I was just talking about this last night with my husband. Our son is now back in our home. He just got married. They're saving money. They want to move. They want to start off, doing something different with their life. And he moved back in with these two puppies that are big. One is a pit bull mix, and the other is, I don't know what he is, but he's a little pill and a half. His name is Archer. Oh my gosh, that dog. I just want to. Anyway, so these two puppies, they're 2 months apart. They're 8 months and 6 months old. They're really big. And every day, every few hours, these dogs start revving each other up and they start fighting. They're playing, they're wrestling, right? And then it goes on. They're running around the house. They're wrestling with each other, tearing each other down on the ground, right? They're attacking each other's faces. And then all of a sudden, yelp! And I said to my husband, this is exactly what it was like raising these three boys. Here it was. They would begin to wrestle, laughing, having fun, wrestle. And then someone got hurt. And then mom would scream, "Stop it!"
Yeah.
And do you know what time of day this always happened? While I'm cooking dinner. I'm frying chicken. Can you smell it? Can you feel the potatoes boiling? The buttered corn on the back burner, right? I'm about to saute some green beans and wow! Okay, so I would tune out the wrestling until it turned into a scream. Someone gets hurt, now someone's crying, the chicken's frying, hello. I was creating stress for myself. And I didn't even realize it. And you're doing the same for your kid. You're creating stress for your daughter, and you don't even realize it, which in turn is creating stress for you.
Right.
So there has to be a proactive plan.
Right. And me being a homeschool mom, that's something that I would love to get your advice on too, because I know there are other homeschool moms out there that are like, I just got to go in the bathroom. I need a moment. Get away from me.
And guess what, Erin? That's okay. I did that a lot. In fact, I still do it. It's okay. Do not feel guilty about hiding in the bathroom for 5 minutes. Don't feel guilty about crying. Don't feel guilty about that. That is what we do. Okay, we need a moment to get our thoughts together. I'm a praying woman. I love to pray, and God, I find that peace will come over me, and God will help me through a situation. But in grooming the next generation for success, there literally is scripting and a pre-planned way about how to set up your day so that we are not provoking the screams and the attention that our kids are trying to get from us. And one of the things that I wrote about in there was this, that we have a tendency to tune them out when they say mom in a calm voice. Mommy, we are ignoring them. We're ignoring them, and they are asking, and until they scream, Mommy! We then scream back. So I learned how to not let it get to that place. But I taught my kids how to do this. If they had a question, I was in the middle of something, they would come over and put their hand on my arm. Mm-hmm. And that signaled me with what? Body language and honor and respect. Yep. They put their hand on me. I grab my hand, I put it on top of theirs, and I just, can you be patient? Just wait a few minutes, okay? And I'll be right there. This stopped the elevation and the screaming and the manipulation in our home. There's a lot of other things that I did as well, but that was just one thing. So I think you're onto something. Yes, there needs to be a time, communication about the cell phone with the kid, okay? And as long as the kid feels like they're getting their need filled, they have no problem with you being on the phone. It's when we're not filling their need first that they have a problem with the phone, and now they're competing with it, and they feel like they're being neglected. And we've all felt neglected before, right? There was a point in my life where I wanted to punch that MacBook Air that was in my husband's lap from here to Timbuktu. I hated that broad. She was the other woman. For years, she was the other woman. I know what that feeling is to be neglected, and it hurts. How much more is it for a child? Do you know what I mean? And they don't know how to process it. They just know how to scream. They came out of the womb screaming. Some of them stay screaming till they're about 8 years old, like my son Roman.
Right.
So anyway, I want you to try that. And I don't know if you have Grooming the Next Generation for Success or not, the home study course. I cannot strongly enough recommend that to you. If I had not had those tools, I would have checked out and ran away from my family. I really would have, especially my size. I have a large family, and I'm the cook, I'm the bottle washer, the laundry person, and I worked 20 hours a week through all of this, and homeschooled for many of those years. And so there's a way to manage it all. There really, really is. And communication is super important with them. Homeschool. Life Pack is what our kids are doing this year. If you just Google that, Life Pack, it's biblically based. It's a really cool program. They're writing with their fingers. I'm not a big. We've done the stuff online. It opened the door to pornography. Just not happy about that. There's no way to protect the kids from pornography, especially homeschool sites, because pornographers try to get kids addicted to pornography early because they will have a lifetime customer if they start the kid when he's 6 years old. So I much rather protect my kids from that kind of stuff. And I know there's protectors you can put on it. We had them all. I just rather not get my kids addicted to a computer when they're young. So I still value writing with a pencil. And call me old-fashioned, whatever you like. I don't care. Anyway, so those are some good, helpful tips that you can use right away. Erin, thanks so much for being here. Thanks for taking time out of your day to listen in on the show and call in and share what your discovery was in the house. All right, so this is Dani Johnson. We're taking your call. We're talking about, things in the home. Yes, problems, stresses, frustrations, and how can we bypass them? I know for me, I was causing stress on my little boy, Roman. I had hit my wits end. I did not know what to do. I didn't know how to handle it. He was a screamer, and I didn't know how to get him to stop. And we continue. I'll share with you what I learned and how it fixed it, and oh my gosh, made such a big difference. This is Dani Johnson. We'll continue after this.
I just heard this amazing story. One of our clients had written us telling us that they had used job domination and unlimited success and has absolutely exploded their career. He said, Dani, I don't know where I'd be today without job domination and unlimited success. Listen, do you want more recognition from your coworkers? Do you want to be recommended to people all over the world? Do you want to be somebody that is highly sought after? Listen, if you're in a dead-end place where this gentleman found himself, but then learned new strategies and changed everything in his work life, and obviously this has resulted in higher bonuses and pay raises, you're next. 888-757-8880. Get your copy of Job Domination right now. 888-757-8880. Again, 888-757-8880. Job domination. That's what you need. It's time for you to dominate the job market and break through the rut that you're in.
Helping you get a grip on your priorities and your focus. The Dani Johnson Show. Here's Dani Johnson.
So there I am. I'm with my 3-year-old, and oh my gosh. You know, my other kids, for some reason, didn't push my buttons the way that this one did. This was child number 4, and wow, man, he could get underneath my skin, and I just really was pulling out my hair. I didn't know how to handle it at all. That frustration was taking me into overdrive, and I seriously was like, I don't know what to do. I finally went to my source of wisdom, my source of encouragement, my source of answers. And yeah, it wasn't a human. You know what I find funny is, why in the world do we humans wait till we can't handle something before we go to our God? And unfortunately, I waited. And why? I had things pretty well dialed with the kids. I had a good system going on. And this 4th one just really sent me for a loop. I didn't know what to do with him. He wasn't fitting into my system. He challenged everything. You know, he was that kid that you say, don't step across that line. He put his toes on the line. Like, but I'm not stepping over it. I'm stepping on it. Right? I'm sure you might have one of those in your house. And here's what happened. I found myself in just praying, God, help me. I don't know what's happening inside of my little boy, but you know him and you love him and you have the solution. Please help me figure this out. Show me what's going on inside of him. And I heard the words, he's frustrated. And I just broke. I started crying because look at me. I'm a 30-something-year-old woman, okay? And I have a hard time dealing with frustration as a 30-something-year-old woman that I would hope would have more maturity than a 3-year-old. And then I realized, oh my gosh, look at the frustration in this kid. I can't handle it. I can't imagine. He doesn't have the maturity or wisdom or even words to be able to articulate what's going on. Oh God, thank you for showing me that. I had just put him down for a nap and he was screaming his head off. I went upstairs as soon as I heard those words. I went upstairs and I knelt down at his bedside, little tears down his face. Come on, you know what he looked like. Right? They're doing that thing. I don't know what you call that, but you know what it, right? And I looked at him and I put my hand on his little chest and I said, Roman, are you frustrated? And he goes, yeah! Oh man, we both had tears that day. And I found a connection point with my little boy. And I just said, I'm so sorry. What's frustrating you? And it's with this little 3-year-old language, he began to articulate. And you see, that son has a personality, and his personality is that which that has to talk, needs the freedom to process, to share. And he began to share, and he calmed down. I prayed for him, and he went fast asleep. So therefore, I stopped reacting to his frustration and started to look for ways to prevent the frustration. Oh my gosh, it was such a beautiful day that day. And it got easier as time went on. I just forever, even still to this day, he's 17 years old, you know, and when he gets cold, there's a good chance that he's frustrated about something. And so mom has a connection point now with him, and that we just need to have a soft conversation, and he needs to share what's going on. And sometimes it takes a lot to be able to get him to talk at 17. He'd rather talk to a young lady from Canada rather than his mother. But in all reality, that was a bridge builder. And so here it is for that. Listen, if you want success out of the home, we've got to start working towards success in the home. Because when there's success and harmony in the home, that then spreads its wings out over every one of your projects that are taking place out of the home. So many people like myself, for years, I tried to just have success out of the home. And I would just completely neglect and just say, I'm just not good at being a wife. I'm just not good at being a mother. I'm just not good at that stuff. Business, man, I got that sucker dialed. Money, I got that sucker dialed. Then I found that all the stresses that were in my home because of the neglect, because of not making my husband and kids a priority, well, then that eventually destroyed my finances. Yeah, resulting in a nervous breakdown and lost everything. So we can try to convince ourselves all we like that the home life does not affect the business life, but we're just lying. Let's come to the truth. And today, we're going to continue to focus on solving some of those challenges, those problems, those frustrations in the home. And here's what you're going to find. You know, obviously, as a businesswoman who's had, I've employed people for a long time, I'm like, hold on a second. Wait a second. That same exact technique of building the bridge of frustration with my son can work for X, Y, and Z. Can work for these other team members that I have that are dealing with the same exact thing. Okay, it's time to talk. This is Dani Johnson. We're going to be taking calls right after this.
Don't just stand there. Soak this up. It's joy, it's encouragement, it's insight to a better life and how to meet your obligations and overcome obstacles.
The Dani Johnson Show.
This is The Dani Johnson Show.
Hi, I'm Dani Johnson. The most common question I get usually are from people who are trying to juggle their life. They've got kids who are involved in all kinds of activities. They've got business or their job, finances, trying to get out of debt, plus all their church activities and all the volunteer activities. And they're pulling their hair out going, how do I juggle this all? Man, I once lived just like that until I learned Time Secrets. Time Secrets showed me how to be able to cut my hours from 100 hours a week that I was working down to 20 hours a week and tripled my income as a direct result with what I learned. Time Secrets also showed me how to get my priorities in order, which healed up my marriage. And I became a mother that I was proud of versus becoming the mother I didn't want to be. And so if you feel like your world is running around in all kinds of different circles, you can fix that. Call 888-757-8880. Again, 888-757-8880 for Time Secrets.
Improving the quality of your life. The Dani Johnson Show.
I love it.
My kids are terrible, Dani. They drive me crazy. I work so I don't have to be with them. Oh, friend, let me read you this quote by, Lady Bird Johnson. Encourage and support your kids because children are apt to live up to what you believe in them. You think your kids are terrible? They're gonna be what you believe them to be. Be careful. Be careful. If they're driving you crazy, there's a good chance that you're provoking the craziness and not even know it. That's why today we're focusing on the home. We're focusing on defrustrating your home, de-stressing the home, defrustrating the kids, de-stressing the kids, helping that place to be really successful, because as you help that to be successful, then you'll be successful in your finances and you'll be successful in your career. It all starts in the home. And your work life is an extension of what happens in the home. And what you learn on how to succeed in the home, you can take into your work life. And your work life will prosper as your home will prosper. That does not mean that your life is going to be perfect. No. We live in an imperfect world around a bunch of imperfect people, and you and I are at the top of the list of imperfection. We mess up. Therefore, there are consequences for our mess up, and then we have to solve and fix the problem. All right, so I promised that we'd go over to the phones. We're talking to April now from Florida. April, what's going on with your kids in the home?
I'm a single mom of 8-year-old twins.
Ooh.
And they're very competitive, and they're constantly fighting with each other.
How long have you been a single mom of the twins?
8 years, their whole life.
Their whole life. So you've never been married?
No.
Wow. So you got pregnant and had twins.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Surprise.
Oh my God. No, that's a double surprise, honey. Wow. I mean, that takes single mom like to a whole new level, and like never been married to a whole nother level. I mean, twins. I have some friends. I work with a friend that has twins, and every time I'm with them, I'm like, oh, wow. I mean, because he's such a good father. You know what I mean? He was such a good supporter with his wife, and they're really raising these kids together. I could not imagine doing twins on your own. Man, that had to be. Did you have help?
Yeah. Wow. I had my parents.
I can't imagine. There's no way to do it, honestly. There's no way to do it without help. Okay, so you're a single mom. How old are you?
I am 29.
Okay, cool. So you weren't a baby when you had the kids, you know? So that's awesome. Yeah. You weren't 16, you weren't 17. And if you were, oh well, people do it. It happens. It's terrible. It's hard work and all that stuff. Okay, so if you as their mother had to give an answer to why they are competitive and why they fight all the time, what would that answer be?
Their personalities clash a lot. One really always wants to be the first at something, and then the other one is just more sensitive and gets her feelings hurt when she's not first.
They both want to be first.
Yes.
Right. Okay, this is awesome. Well, you're right. I think you're right to an extent. Yes, if they have the same personality, that definitely creates a conflict if they do not possess the skills to solve problems. So let me show you. Number one, what you've just identified your kids as is what I call a ruby. That's the personality. We do this thing called GEMS. It's a personality teaching. And the ruby is the more aggressive one. It's the super positive one, the super confident one, the one that has to win, has to be the best, has to be number one, and everybody else is number two, and they're going to announce it to everybody. I'm number one, you're number two. And you can see this in as young as a 2-year-old, right? You actually can see it as young as a 1-year-old, where they are very bold, very strong. They were given an overdose of confidence in the womb, and they came out wanting to rule and dominate the world. I remember when I had my first son, he has that personality. And again, I'm not an expert here. I'm just saying it's like one mom talking to another, right? Okay, two parents having a conversation. I'm sure you've had plenty of conversations with your friends. But I can tell you that in grooming the next generation for success, I highlight what the personalities are of the kids and how to communicate with them and what the weaknesses are of those personalities, what the strengths are, and how to be able to shore up the weaknesses so that the kid doesn't carry the weaknesses into their adult life. But that how can we give them a more balanced view on life and how to manage their own emotions. So, for example, both these girls are overconfident. Neither one of them like to lose. So they turn on each other instead of learning how to play team. And this is that we are a team. The three of us are a team. And for the rest of your life, you're going to be in a team. For right now, it's the three of us. But one day, you're going to be in a team maybe in sports or in dance. And when you get married and have kids, that then is going to be a team. And you'll be a team with your own kids someday. Or you might have a business someday, and you're going to be a team with those people. And so what we're going to work on, because you have these great strengths of this very powerful personality, God made you to be winners. That's how you are. But I want you to understand that in order to win, sometimes you have to take a back seat and let somebody else have the lead in a project. So we're going to practice one of you taking the lead on one project and the other being the one to learn how to follow. Because in a team, you have to learn how to lead and you have to learn how to follow. And how we follow determines how well we get to lead. So someday, you're going to be leading a family. And if you aren't a good follower, you're going to reap what you sow. You're going to reap what you sow. If mommy plants tomatoes in the ground, what shows up? Tomatoes after a certain period of time. If mommy plants green beans in the ground, what turns up? Over a certain period of time, green beans, lots of them. So you want to make sure that you got the right heart as a leader by learning how to follow and learning how to lead. Because you don't want it to be that someday when you have your own family, that your kids are stiff-necked, rebellious, and insubordinate and will not follow you. So how you treat mommy is one day how your kids are going to treat you. By the way, you might have coworkers someday. And at that point, in order to raise up other leadership, sometimes you've got to let somebody else lead and you have to learn to follow. So that would be a conversation I'd be having with them. And whenever they do a good job following, really pat them on the back big time. Pay attention to teamwork. Over-recognize teamwork instead of who's first and who's winning. Okay? And there is a time and place for who's first and winning. And the other person to not have jealousy and harbor bitterness in their heart because someone else did better. No, we're going to train their hearts to celebrate the winner. And why? Because that when it's your turn to win, you don't want jealousy coming at you. You want people to celebrate your win. So if we want people to celebrate our win, we have to celebrate their win. So it's important. Grooming the Next Generation for Success. If you don't have that home study course or the book yet, girlfriend, you need it desperately. Because two rubies that are the same age and the same sex, single mom, I feel it already. You need a lot of different strategies. And you'll find in that book, it's going to disarm this pressure, these stresses. And not only that, but who do you want to raise? Come on. Do you want to raise your girls to be like the rest of the girls that are being raised today?
No.
Right? There was a whole movie done on girls like your girls. It's called Mean Girls.
Yeah.
Right? Is that what you want to raise? Come on, tell me. Let's fast forward and see where does this go, babe. Where does it go? What kind of wives?
I want to do something now.
You better do something now, because what are they going to be when they're 12? What about 13? Tell me, what does 16 look like? And now, let's say they're on their own and they're married. What kind of wives will they be? Dominating Jezebels is what they will be if you don't start to groom their emotions, their heart, and their character. That's what we have to do. We got to shepherd their heart, their character, their skill set in communication with each other, and having a much higher, bigger, mature way of looking, even at 8 years old. I did this with my son when he was 4 years old. Okay, he had a newborn. When he was 3, we brought Roman home. Cabe changed instantly. He no longer was the star son. There was competition, and he wanted to squash that competition. He wanted to prove that he was number one. Like, whoa, hold the phone, boy. Hold on here. This is not how this rolls. And when we fast forward this looks like a dominating husband. This looks like a dominating boss, and those people don't do real well in life. So for the sake of your girl's future, you've got to shepherd and groom good character, good heart, good communication with them, and showing them the higher purpose that they have in life and being leaders, because they're going to be powerful leaders, leading in the home, leading in the workplace. That's what they're going to be. So it's your job to prepare them for that. Grooming the Next Generation for Success is your tool, girlfriend. You're going to love it. I'm excited for you. Thanks for calling, by the way. Thanks so much for being here and sharing that story. This is Dani Johnson. Yeah. Isn't it crazy? Yeah, everything starts from the home, my friend. It does. You want to have success in your life? First of all, you got to define what success looks like for you. And then you have to realize that success always starts in the home. Even if it's a mess, you got to learn how to solve it, and it'll solve other problems all around you. We're going to continue with more of the Dani Johnson Show right after this.
Let go of the past and hang on for what's new and exciting and about to come into your life. Stay tuned to the Dani Johnson Show. There's more to come.
I'm so blessed that I found what is in Grooming the Next Generation for Success. This is a book that is being taught in universities around the world. It's been noted as the best book on parenting that has ever been written. Crazy, if you ask me. But the point is that this thing gets results. Get your copy today, 888-757-8880. Again, that's 888-757-8880. Or go to DaniJohnson.com. That's DANI Johnson.com. Get your copy today.
Now, more of the Dani Johnson Show.
Success redefined. What do you want your life to look like? Don't let the media, don't let other people in your life tell you what it looks like. It's up to you to determine what you want it to look like. In my early days, yes, I was taught that success had everything to do with making lots of money, living in a big house, driving brand new cars, big giant diamonds. I spent way too much on jewelry. I spent way too much on clothes, and I spent way too much on gifts for people that did not need them. I redefined what success was to look like for me, and I'm telling you, I found a purpose and a destiny. Yes, helping people to succeed and taking the money and giving it to those who are in need. If you have been a part of this show with us for this last year, first of all, I want to thank you for being a faithful listener of this program. And I know that your life, as my life, is being impacted because every day, man, we're talking about things that are giving me a zinger in my belly. Every time I hear from one of you and the things that you're making changes in your life and how you're improving it, yeah, that causes me to be accountable and to make more appropriate changes. But when I decided to look at what was success for me, it had nothing to do with cars and houses and stuff. I had already gotten all of that junk and it was completely empty. But the purpose of taking money and putting purpose to it. Now, if you've been here for a while, you've been hearing about a woman by the name of Fida. 9 children. Her husband had left going to try to find work and could not find anything. For 2 months, he was gone when I met her. An earthquake hit her home as well as the entire town that she lived in and demolished homes for thousands of people. 2,000 people, in fact, living in extreme poverty. Their water supply was totally destroyed. Their crops were destroyed. Everything was a disaster. And the day that I met her, she's holding her baby with no chonies on, no diapers. They don't have money for diapers. And she had no way to feed them. No smiles on their faces, just an absolute destructive life that had hit them and not knowing what to do about it. Well, I'm so happy to show you this picture right now, this amazing picture. Because of you and because of the work you and I have done together as a team, we've built Fida a brand new home with indoor plumbing, with clean water supply in the area. In fact, she's just moved in. So here is the woman I've been telling you about. Here is her with 6 of her kids, and look who came home, her husband. Her husband came home. Her family has been reunited now, and now we're in the beginning stages of finishing that sugar plant to provide 200 jobs for this village. The 2 water supplies that are going to feed 2,000 people that pure drinking water. When I saw this, man, my heart just jumped. Look at her. There's the woman. I don't know if you saw the video on Facebook, because we've been posting on Facebook every once in a while, the me walking into her home, talking to her, holding the babies, and they had no food that day. Obviously, we brought them food that day. But now to see it just months later, because of the hard work you've done and you put purpose to money, look at her. Look at her. She's in her home. There she is, standing outside of the home with her husband, with 6 of the kids. I don't know where the other last 3 kids were, but there they are. You helped to change a person's life. You helped to take a person out of that horrific poverty and bring them a solution. That's the home you built. How awesome are you? And if you're listening to me for the first time and you're like, what are you talking about, Dani? How do I help somebody get their home built? Go to kingsransom.org. Again, that's kingsransom.org. Kadwa, Haiti is the village that we are rebuilding. We are transforming this entire village with your help. It makes it look at, when you look at a mom looking at her 9 children, not knowing how she's going to feed them, makes our problems over here in our first world country look pretty small, doesn't it? Talk about frustration, talk about kids fighting. No, these kids are fighting to stay alive. And you helped to provide. And if you want to continue to help, we want to make sure all 2,000 people have their brand new homes. Instead of living under bushes, living under banana leaves, we are building brand new homes for them. 65 homes are going to take care of all of these people that don't have a home that's livable in. And we are going to bring in that water supply, bring in the sugar plant with 200 jobs. So look at that. Come on, look at that picture. Look at that. Look at this. Can you just picture this right now? Picture this woman, this Haitian woman, standing outside of her home with her husband and her children. Picture the smiles. They've got a toilet. They got running water. They have safety from the storms that come. What an awesome thing. All right, we're going back to our last caller. Right now, we've got Gina from Bridgeport, Connecticut. We've been talking about the home and identifying the problems in the home that we can solve that then also can help solve problems outside of the home. Success starts in the home, my friend. As much as we try to run away from it, the fact is we got to fix whatever's going on there, reduce the stress, reduce the frustration. We've been given solutions for the whole last 2 hours on how to make that a more pleasant, harmonious place. Gina, welcome to the show. What's going on inside of your home?
Hi, I'm in Bridgeport, Connecticut, and I'm a single mom, and I have a 7-year-old son who has major anger issues.
Yeah.
And doesn't know how to manage them properly.
Let me ask you a question. When you were 7, did you know how to manage your anger issues?
I did. I was a good child.
Really? I didn't know how to manage my anger issues when I was 7 at all. Not at all.
I had good conduct. I just pulled up my report card. Funny you said that. I just saw my report card, and it was all conduct.
You had good conduct. Yeah, I didn't know how to manage my anger. I fought. I got in a lot of fights when I was a little girl. Not only at home with my sisters, but with classmates. And I was bullied by other kids too. But I will tell you that most 7-year-olds don't know how to manage anger. We're just not equipped at 7. Say what?
I said he's been hitting me a couple times.
Yeah, well, that's unacceptable behavior, and it needs to be dealt with. He needs discipline for that. So first of all, I think that what a good idea to do with a son who is he's showing his emotion is get him to talk about his emotion instead of using his physical body to express his emotion. So there's some pent up hurt that's inside of him. The hurt could be because his dad's not in the picture. The hurt could be, and by the way, that's an issue, big deal. A lot of kids are in that situation, okay? Millions of kids don't have their dads in the picture from all over the world. There's entire cultures that their dads have never been in the picture. So everyone's born with advantages and disadvantages, and you're gonna be the mother that helps your son deal with his disadvantages. And so the outburst is because he needs to talk. And so if we sit down in a calm place and a calm voice and just say, what's happening inside? What is it that is frustrating you? Is there something mommy has done that has caused you to feel hurt? And just be prepared for whatever his mouth is going to say. Ask him to forgive you for whatever perception it is that he has. And then just say, we're going to work on this. Let me tell you about all the things that I think you do that are great. Encourage him. Encourage him. You're gorgeous. You're strong. You're going to be a great husband and a father someday. And mommy's job is to help you become that. And I believe in you. And I want to help your character and your personality to form into a wonderful leading man one day. And so let's come up with a plan on how we're going to be able to communicate with each other better. You'll be amazed how he receives this kind of a conversation. It's not going to happen when he's hitting you, obviously, right? That needs to be disciplined. But then after the air has cleared a little bit, now it's time to calm him down, let him be calm, and then just have a heart-to-heart talk. Encourage him, love on him, ask him for forgiveness for whatever it is needs to be done, and you're going to see improvement in your son. This is Dani Johnson. Thanks so much for joining me today. Tomorrow, we'll see you same time, same place with another tip that will improve your life.
We want to thank you for listening to The Dani Johnson Show. We hope you found inspiration, answers, and hope to renew your happiness in life. Join us again on the next Dani Johnson Show.
I remember being homeless and broken in every way, and being overloaded with financial pressure, the pressure that I was a failure, the social pressure, everything that I felt like was crashing down on top of me. And at the same time, I felt so alone until I learned the strategies of first steps to success. You have the chance, my friend, to annihilate all of your debt. Think about that. You have the chance to grow your income through your current career, or even learning to start a brand new business that will be profitable. You also have the chance for learning how to motivate the people that are in your life that are driving you crazy, and how to have significant breakthrough, not only spiritually, but physically, financially, and socially, and business-wise. And so I'm excited to see you at First Steps to Success. It's coming up January 17th through the 19th. Get yourself registered today, 888-757-8880. There's a seat with your name on it, friend. 888-757-8880.